Hi there, welcome to module 2 routine. We'll start off with some hip circling. So take your feet slightly wider than hip width distance, still making sure that your feet are pointing straight ahead and the weight is back in your heels. And you're just doing nice big circles with your hips. Just trying to explore the movement in your pelvis. And take the circles smaller, so you're spiraling in. Until you're just using your pelvis really subtly. Then take the spiral out, so you're circling the other way. Until you're getting nice, big circles. And this is just bringing a little bit of oxygen to your pelvis, getting the blood flowing. And remember, the movement's coming from here. It's not coming from your shoulders. You're not stirring from there. It's just from your pelvis. Okay, so next is the big toe lift. So again, think about your alignment, feet pointing straight ahead, weight back in the heels, your hip bones and pubic bone in alignment. So just play and see whether you need to tuck under slightly or push your bum out slightly. Release the tension in your stomach, bring your ribs and your pelvis, your hip bones into alignment. So you're thinking about doing a very mini sit up just with the top muscles of your abdomen, just so you can feel a slight tightening but not a tension. And your ear above your shoulder. And then we're just going to lift the big toe. So it's hard to do this without looking down. So just lifting up the big toe, keeping the other toes pressed into the mat. Make sure that you're just using your toes to lift, not your ankles. Can you try on the other foot? Is one easier than the other? If you're having problems, you can just hold down the toes, the other toes, just to lift just that one single toe. If you're finding that easy, then move on to the next toe, and again you're trying to keep the big toe and the other little toes down and just moving that second toe. And just work on trying to get a bit of a Mexican wave going. So can you take the big toe, the other toes all up, and then the little toes, the middle toes, and finally the big toe back down. Just getting that movement and those muscles working in the feet again. Okay, let's work on the hip flexor next. So you're going to come into a high kneel, and you want to make sure that this heel is in line with your the rest of your leg. It's not to come out to the side. And make sure that you're not allowing your knee to drift over the ankle. It's staying in line with the ankle. So if you need more stretch, bring the whole foot forward. Then once you're here, and again, if you're finding struggling with your balance, you can grab a stool or a chair just to steady yourself. And then you're just going to tuck the pelvis under. And as you tuck the pelvis under, you'll feel that stretch. Your toes at the back can be tucked or untucked, whichever you feel is more comfortable. And then let's move on to the other leg. So again, positioning is everything. Where's that foot? Make sure the heel is in line with the rest of the leg. Make sure again that this leg is in line. the knee doesn't come up more forward of the ankle. If you need to, take the leg further forward and then tuck your pelvis under, so you're really feeling that stretch down the hip flexor. Let's do that once more each side. Remember, the alignment is everything. That's the key to this, to regaining that strength in the pelvic floor, is the realigning of the body. So the alignment is happening. One last time on the other leg. So easy to let this knee wing out to the side, so make sure that that's staying in line and above the ankle and in line with the foot. Okay, great. So come to standing. We're going to do the standing inner thigh stretch. So you'll need your stool or your chair. Standing slightly forward of hip width apart. Hinging back, hinging from the hips down onto your chair. You're bolstering if you need to. And bring the weight back into your heels. And think about the tailbone untucking and the ribs being pulled down so they're in line with your hip bone. And then you just bend one knee. So you're taking the weight onto your standing leg and allowing the stretch to happen down the inside. And then over to the other side. If you need a little bit more stretch, just take the standing leg further apart. And bend the leg. One more time, bend the other leg. And come up. Now come down onto your hands and knees for an abdominal release. So you're making sure that your knees are below your hips, and your hands are under your shoulders. pelvis is untucked, and then just allow your abdominal muscles to release all that tension. Again, if your wrists are struggling, then grab yourself your rolled up towel or your half dome, and you can put the heel of your hands on that half dome, and it will just help with relieving the tension there. Release all that tension from your abdominal muscles. Really feeling how that, acknowledging how that feels to release those muscles. And acknowledging how much tension you're holding in your abdomen for hours and hours during the day. The impact that that's having on your pelvic floor. So releasing the tension here will release the weight and pressure pushing down on your pelvic floor muscles. And once these abdominal muscles have stopped being held in chronic tension, they then will be able to start to work reflexively, and you'll be able to get a stronger, more toned abdominal muscles. So don't feel that you're going to be just letting it all hang out all the time. You will be setting up the foundations for a more functional core. Okay, and now come down onto your forearms, and making sure that your elbows are below your shoulders, and that your arms aren't winging out to the side, a nice straight line. Untuck the pelvis, so the tailbone is coming up towards the sky. Bring the ribs in line with the pelvis by doing the little baby sit-up type movement. And then head hangs low, and just allow that stretch across the shoulder blades. Just making sure the head's hanging low, pelvis is untucked, and the ribs are being drawn back towards so that they're in line with the hip bone. Make sure that your hands aren't winging out to the side. And now just flipping your hands so that your palms are upwards, and you're trying to get your thumbs onto the mat. Still allowing your head to hang, still thinking about your rib position, your pelvis position, making sure that tailbone's coming up towards the sky and the ribs are being brought in line with the hip bones, head hanging low. And just push slightly into the mat with your arms so that you aren't collapsing through the shoulders, so you start to feel that stretch. So pushing with your arms into the mat helps to create that stretch between the shoulder blades and stops you dipping your back and making this exercise just a back dipping exercise and not stretching the thoracic back muscles. Okay, you can just bring your bum back for a last stretch before we get up. So let's come on to your psoas release. Remembering that you're bolstering up so your thighs stay on the ground, and that you are bolstering just below your, just on your shoulder blades, so that you're allowing plenty of space here. As that psoas muscle releases, your ribs will start to come lower towards the mat. Now, if you need to, you can put some cushions under your arms if that makes it more comfortable. And just allowing yourself time to rest and relax here. Now bring the soles of your feet together into the cobbler stretch. And again, if it's going to be more comfortable, you can put some cushions under your knees. You're feeling that stretch in the inner thigh. Now bring your feet up so the soles of your feet are on the ground, your legs are bent. Making sure that your knees stay in line with your pelvis. And just lay the left ankle over the right knee. Still allowing the psoas release to help to work, so you're not tensing up in your back as you're bringing that leg up. And now swap legs. Again, making sure that your knee of your standing leg is in line with your hip bones. Okay, so I am going to leave you here. Rest back into the psoas or the cobbler, or whichever is more comfortable for you. And just give yourself the gift of time to stay here in the psoas release for another 5 or 10 minutes. A beautiful gift for yourself. Rest and enjoy.